Hello and welcome to Loaded Mag NUFC. This is the reaction show for Man City versus Newcastle in the Premier League because we're meeting Man City every second week now at this stage. But Pete, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Better than I was anticipating I was going to feel after this game tonight. I'm not feeling too bad. I'm sure we'll get into it. Positives, negatives, etc., etc. But ultimately, trying to think of the right word to describe how I feel right now. I am optimistic after that game. And I'll explain my reasons why, but I do feel optimistic after that game, which you don't normally feel after a loss. But there was a lot for me to take away with positives from tonight's defeat. So that's kind of how I'm feeling right now. Daz, how are you, fella? How are you feeling right now?
Not too bad. Look at it. As losses go, yeah, it's not the worst. And yeah, look at we did talk a good game in the big match preview. We knew we were going to be up against something special, I guess, in this game today. But they didn't look so special after all. They just hung on in the end. But we're going to get into that a bit more. Right, this is the team news. Chris may or may not join us at some point in the show. We're not 100% sure. He did flag to us earlier in the day, but this is the team news for Newcastle. So no Botman. J7 is on the bench. Barnes is on the bench. Willock starts. What did you make of the lineup, Pete?
The only real sort of major surprise was Barnes being on the bench, and seemingly, although a few people, I think Keith Downey and I think TNT had talked about it as I think Voltamada in a front three on the left, that just didn't make sense to me. So I always assumed it was going to be Willock on the left, which is what it started like. So that was the only big surprise out of it all. You mentioned Sven Botman not being in the squad, even though Eddie Howe alluded to the fact he would be. It kind of makes sense to me why he did play, and it will make more sense if he starts on Tuesday against Karabag. And there was no real need to risk him in this game. If they brought him on and he kind of picks up another injury or something like that again, you then go back to one centre back for the next game. Whereas Malik Chow suspended, he'll finally get a rest. And if Sven Botman's ready and he's been training, then it would be kind of seamless, really, to bring him back in for that game. And you can't really ask for a better game, can you, to bring him back in at St James's Park after a 6-1 win away from home to kind of ease him back into football. So it just, for me, there was no worry or concern with Botman missing today's game. It actually kind of made sense. But everything else about the team was kind of what I expected, to be honest. Any surprises, anything that stood out from you, Daz, with regard to that, or even Man City's from their perspective?
No, like you said, Barnes, I suppose, on the bench was the biggest kind of okay, that's a bit different. But when Barnes came on, though, I didn't think he was great at all. So maybe it's just tiredness. Like the trip would have taken a lot out of the lads as well, but yeah. They put in a good performance tonight. So I can't really say much about nothing bad about anyone really in that side of things. But let's get into this game because first off, some early corners for City, for Newcastle to deal with. City out of the blocks early as well. After 8 minutes, an awful lot of yellow cards in this game for Newcastle. Dan Byrne picks up an early yellow for his discussion with the ref after a Holland challenge. Kind of silly one to pick up so early in the game. 13 minutes in, then Nico O'Reilly scores. Marmoush plays it to O'Reilly, and he scores from the edge of the box. Popey does get a touch to it, but 1-0 City after 13 minutes. Anything you want to say about their first, Pete?
Yeah, it's just poor defensive work from us, and I don't mean necessarily the back line, just poor defensively in midfield. We just kind of let him go far too easily for me. no one really goes to try and block the shot. The shot that he takes it's avoidable. It is the word that I'm going to say. I think the goal was absolutely avoidable. We just went through that phase where we were just a bit like what we did in the second leg of the Carabao Cup. We was just letting them just slice through us really easy. It was just one pass cutting through us, and they were creating the opportunities. And Nico O'Reilly had made that run out to receive the ball, and no one's tracked him, no one's followed him. He just, was able to just glide into position without someone coming to press him or make it difficult. And he hits a good shot. Should I really be blaming Pope for that? I'm in two minds of whether I should be. For me, looking from the angle behind the goal, I'm thinking, well, could you have made another step to the side before you get across? Possibly. Could he got more of a hand to it to keep it out? Possibly. It was a good hit from Nico O'Reilly. I can't deny that. I just think, I go back to that word. I just think it was avoidable all round. I thought, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go with it, Daz. I'm going to go with Pope should have done better with that. He should have stepped across more. He takes one step across. He should have took two. The ball was far out enough for him to take another couple of steps across to be able to cover that side of the goal. And I asked myself, does Donnarumma let that one in? And the answer is no. And that just shows the levels between the two goalkeepers in this game. So, yeah, I'm going to put it a little bit on Pope, but I thought the defending from midfield and the defensive line were really poor to let him in. And it felt like, for me, that it was almost like we were waiting for that goal just to wake up and start playing, which Newcastle tend to do. So that's me on that first goal, Daz. But anything to add on that, Daz, about you with that first goal?
Not so much for me. I'm just looking at what Eddie Howe's comment is, and he says, we're disappointed with the 2 goals we conceded. Dom has that up there. Yeah, look, in the game itself, and I don't even have it recorded in my notes here, Pope does make a lot of saves to keep us in the game as well. So on that occasion, yeah, you would wonder, could he have done more? But overall, he did all right on the night. He made some big saves later on that kept us in it. But right, we'll move on. 16 minutes, Big Nick plays in Gordon, whose pace takes him past and away from Mark A. Then he cuts inside and his shot is saved. City looked like they're hungry for more as they continue to cut through Newcastle. But then on the 21st minute, so like 5 minutes after that first, it's 8 minutes after that City goal. From the second corner, it breaks to Hall by Ramsey, and his shot is deflected off Aït-Nouri, and it goes into the City net, 1-1, and a goal for Lewis Hall. What did you make of that one, Pete?
There was life. There was life in this team. Finally, as I said for the goal that we conceded, Daz, it was a case of, we needed that goal almost kind of just to wake up. And we did. We absolutely did. All of a sudden, Trippier's playing balls down that right-hand side, and Alanga's running through and causing problems. We've got balls playing down that left. There was an interesting change in that first half where very quickly changed Willock and Jacob Ramsey. So Willock and Jacob Ramsey went onto the left of midfield. Willock went into the centre. And all of a sudden, Jacob Ramsey's picking up the ball. He's able to play with Hall running down and making overlapping runs. He's able to play the ball inside to Big Nick and to Gordon making runs. And all of a sudden, we looked a threat. There was a ball down the left-hand side, brilliant ball that was played where Gordon's running on. And Diaz gets a yellow card, and we start playing, start creating chances, winning corners. And that's how the goal comes about. It's Lewis Hall needs to be taking more shots from the edge of the area because we know what he's capable of. We know that he is capable of scoring goals. We know he is capable of hitting the ball from long distance. Yeah, it takes a deflection, but if you don't buy a ticket, you don't win. It's as simple as that. And it was the same with Sandro Tonali this time last week. Is that he takes a couple of shots from outside the area and both of them go in, one with a deflection. Exactly the same today. Make them make a mistake, and we did that. And I thought for our kind of rejuvenation once the first goal went in. I thought we were full value for it because I didn't think up until that goal went in. I know it was only 8 minutes or so between the goals, but for that 8 minutes, we started to be on top. We started to be the better team. And there was panic there in Man City's eyes. You could tell it. All of a sudden, the stadium goes quiet. The players stop panicking on the ball. We grow in confidence, and I'm thinking, well, yeah, this is what we wanted. This is what we needed as a team. We needed that goal to go in, and it's a lovely hit from Lewis Hall. I don't care about the deflection. It was on target, went in the back of the net. It's his goal. He deserves it, and we deserved it, and it was deservedly 1-1. But anything from you, Daz, to talk about Lewis Hall?
Lewis Hall in general, like he's just class. He's a complete baller, and delighted to keep plays for Newcastle. Yeah, like he deserves a goal. But yeah, look, it was just it brought about a bit of life. Can we actually get something out of this after that kind of start from City? Because City were they're fighting for something. Really, they were mad up for this game. 5 minutes later, though, our joy was short-lived because Nico O'Reilly gets his second. Haaland with the ball across the supplier at this time. After the pass from Semenyo, no one gets near him. 2-1 Man City.
I feel like it's rinse and repeat, Dad.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same again. We let our player go so easily. Nico O'Reilly just ghosts from midfield into the back post. He's not marked whatsoever. I can't remember exactly who it was. It might have been Jacob Ramsey, who doesn't follow the runner, and he just literally ghosts behind Malik Chow. Malik Chow then gets pushed to the ground, who could be contesting that ball again. I don't think he gets it, but he could be contesting it. He tries to go up. He gets knocked to the ground. The ball comes through. It's the simplest of headers. Why? Because he's not contested for the board. Why is Trippier not trying to get close to him and put him off? Put him, like a lot of fullbacks do. They just ease into the player to try and put them off balance, because when they're off balance, they don't tend to direct the header as acutely as they can do. There's a couple of elements in there. There's poor marking from us. He just ghosts in on the post. Trippier could be doing better there, but again, now what's the trick? Ramsey, it might have been Joe Willett that lets him go, because I think Jacob Ramsey actually is the one that goes with Haaland before Haaland crosses the ball in. And I couldn't help but think that Ramsey just didn't do enough to try and stop that cross. He could have done more. I might be wrong on that, but that was my initial feeling. I'm just going off my initial feelings watching it live. I just felt that Jacob Ramsey could have done more to stop that cross, but then everything else, the losing of the marker too easily from Nico O'Reilly, Trippier not trying to ease him off the ball, all of those elements are just, again, it's switching off. We switch off in those moments. It's just 2 moments tonight, just 2 moments where we switched off.
That's all it takes.
That's it against Man City. Whether they're the stunning Man City of a few years ago, or whether they're the Man City of now, you've got to put your chances away, and you've got to switch on in moments of defensive stability. And those 2 moments have cost us. But Daz, I know you're of the same mindset, because you're nodding with what I'm saying. So anything to add on that, mate?
I switched off mentally and I've blanked out that goal after that. But I do remember Trips being the closest to him, but he rose high enough to get the goal. Yeah, just 5 minutes after us drawn level. It just the hunger that City had, but the game was not over at that stage. It could have been over. We could have sat back, but we did not. We grow into the game pretty much, especially into that second half. But 31 minutes, Sander goes down, then holding his knee. I think, oh shit, here we go. This is all we need. But he was okay to continue. 40 minutes, Ruben Diaz gets his yellow card after he takes Gordon out. 41 minutes, Burn. This is a big talking about here. Burn with the ball in the net. A Tonali free kick. Burn is pushed by Diaz, who's just after getting the yellow card, by the way. So then Dan Burn is ruled offside, and that's backed up by VAR. But why wasn't it either an indirect free kick to Newcastle or penalty? Or your thoughts on that?
For me, I was absolutely stunned why they didn't look at this for a penalty. I was absolutely stunned by it. I thought, first and foremost, in its isolation, I thought it was a really well worked set piece, really good set piece. I think it's Tonali that whipped it in, and it's a brilliant move and a lovely header. Completely cuts out Donnarumma, who comes out to try and collect it. It's a lovely goal, and I was already up celebrating because I thought it was in. And then when they go to the linesman offside, you look at it and it's a blatant push. It's so blatant, two hands push. And this has been going around on social media. I'll put it on the screen. It's a little bit small. I don't know if I can make it any bigger, but I'll read it out. In fact, I'll read it out on here just because it's easier for me. And it says, under the Law 11 offside and Law 12 fouls and misconduct of the International Football Association Board, a player cannot be penalised for offside if they were pushed by an opponent. If the defender pushes or holds an attacker, causing them to move in offside position, the referee should penalise the push or hold, a foul under the Law 12, and restart with a direct free kick or penalty kick if it occurs inside the defender's penalty area.
Which it did.
It should be a penalty. It should be a penalty. And that's been going around on social media. It says a little bit more. It says the offside offence would not be given because the offside position is judged at the moment a teammate plays the ball. If the attacker's position results from the foul, and the foul takes priority. Well, the ball is hit. They stop it at the moment the ball is hit. At that point, the push is still in play. So for me, it's a penalty. It is a penalty, and I'm absolutely stunned why VAR have not looked at this. This is the chance for VAR to do something right after what we suffered last week at Villa Park. This is an opportunity to say you didn't have VAR last week, and look what happened to you. Well, you got VAR this week. This is why VAR should be in, because we're going to give you the right decision. This was VAR's opportunity to do the right thing, but we get a bunch of clowns in that caravan.
Stockley Park
caravan that's doing all this nonsense on the screen and completely miss it. The commentators mentioned it. I think it was Glenn Hoddle says it straight the way. We can see it straight the way. How are they not looking at that and making their decision? I just think it's absolute lunacy that they've not even bothered.
I agree. I think it was Peter Clennell that had that out. That's where I saw it straight away after the incident. But yeah, like you, I was sure it was going to be a penalty, or even better, the goal to stand. But yeah, just our luck at the Etihad. But 49 minutes, a good save from Pope as Marmoush pulls the trigger. But ultimately, that took us to half time. And we are 2-1 down at half time. Is there anything else you want to say, Pete, on that first half?
When we woke up, I thought we were competitive. I thought we had some real good moments on the counter attack to really cause them some problems. I did feel like we didn't do it enough in that first half. There were times to release Anthony Elanga and Jacob Ramsey or Gordon through the middle because City were playing such a high line, and we just didn't do it enough. There was a pet peeve of mine in the first half. It didn't happen as much in the second, so I'm assuming that Eddie Howe told him what's what at half time. But look, I love Lewis Hall. I love what he does. I love how marauding he is with the ball at his feet, and he can just travel long distances. But for me, and I saw it in the first half, he overplays sometimes and he gets us into trouble. And he did it a few times. He picks up the ball and he's trying to do his turns when he's got three men round him. Sometimes it's just about finding the pass and moving on and going, you know what, I can't do it in this moment. But men round me, let's just keep it simple. Let's keep the ball in possession and keep ticking on. And I'll find space to receive it again. And then, so there's that was a little pet peeve of mine. And there's the other one where they're playing little triangles. the Dan Burn, Lewis Hall, and it's sometimes Tonali coming short or Willett coming short. They play these little triangles in our deep in our defensive half, and City just kind of pen us in, and they're winning the ball back, not even having to really try very hard because we just can't pass it out. And it's like, you're playing against City at the Etihad. We suffered from this literally a couple of weeks ago. Have we not learned our lesson? We did eventually tonight, but for that part, there was about a 15-minute or so moment in that first half where we were just giving the ball away so cheaply. We need to be better. If you've got Gordon and Alanga that are absolutely rapid, playing up against the high line, sometimes you just got to put it in the channel and go, Gordon, go have a run at it, or Alanga, go run at it. And let's get us up the pitch and let's start again and let's pen them back, because we've got the high pressers there that are going to chase that ball. Midfield can move up, we can move up, and we start again. Sometimes we just need to play simple football and smart football for the moment that we're in. We can't always play out. We haven't got players that are technically able to. Lewis Hall's one of them. Dan Burn isn't. But there's others on the pitch that can't do it either. So we haven't got a full team of technical players where that can work. At Man City and Arsenal, different story. And it was just a little pet peeve of mine in that first half. There was just a couple of moments of where we just kept giving the ball away so cheaply. We've set up a team to be direct. We just need to do it a little bit more often and let them do what they are capable of doing. Because I tell you what, I thought Gordon was very good in the first half as that front line forward. I thought Alanga as an outlet was very good. Won a lot of balls down that side, caused a lot of problems down that side. I thought Jacob Ramsey in a different way was very good when he went onto the left. So we had players that could do it. We just need to maximize that a lot more. So that was just a couple of things that stood out for me. And anything from you, Daz, to add?
Yeah, just one thing with, and it came up in the chat in a couple of shows back that from the City corners we were playing two up front, ready for the counter attack, and there was one occasion it worked out where Alanga got the ball and then took us out of it. Did he try to square to Gordon? I can't remember what happened with it anyway, but you could see that was why they were doing that, and it got us up the pitch. I think maybe we got a free or something out of it, but it got us instead of coming back straight at us again. So yeah, it was. You're right. You use the pace when we have it on the pitch. Into the second half, anyway, you'll remember that Ruben Diaz had picked up a yellow card in that first half, but Pep takes him off. And Kushnov comes on. Again, he was up against Gordon's pace, so that's one of the reasons why he brought on Kushnov, who had a good game actually when he came on. See why we were looking at him ourselves back at that time. More yellow cards. Willett gets a yellow card for a pullback on Silva. Then Silva gets a yellow card for a foul on Ramsey. Then he decides to jump, not looking at the ball, just looking at Dan Burn, jumps straight into Dan Burn and gives away a free kick. But again, it was a needless free kick to give away from him. And okay, it mightn't have been enough for a red card, but he was just after getting a yellow card. So it was kind of a dodgy thing to do in that situation for Bernardo Silva. Newcastle then doing well in the early stages of the second half. 59 minutes, J7 comes on, Nick Valtemada goes off, Barnes comes on, Willock comes off. Barnes, after 2 minutes, picks up a yellow card. 63 minutes, Alanga gets pushed over, or sorry, gets pushed out when there was a ball on to Barnes or even Gordon as an option, but he didn't look up really for that. 64 minutes, Trips picks up a yellow. 70 minutes, Alanga needs to look up more. I wrote down here another chance. This time he should have played Gordon through after a J7 quick free kick. Gordon was making the break. If he had looked up and played the ball sooner, when he was ready to do it, Gordon was offside, so he couldn't do it. Newcastle still in with a chance here as City doing well to keep Newcastle out. On comes more subs. 77 minutes. Sula on, Gordon off. Murphy on, Alanga off. 88 minutes. J7 with a yellow that he's looking for. 90 minutes, another good save from Popey. There's a number of good saves actually in the game from Popey. I haven't recorded them. 94 minutes, Barnes has a shot saved. And it goes for a corner. Then Big Nick comes up. You're thinking, could this be the leveler? But yeah, it comes to nothing. Full time, 2-1. City hold on, and they were just about holding on. It was all Newcastle in that second half, really. But thoughts on the second half, Pete?
You know what? Just overall, like I say, it sounds really weird because we lost the game, but I expected it to be a lot worse than that, and I'm actually quite proud of the lads for a few reasons. I thought we were competitive throughout that second half. We really stuck it on them at points in the game. When you're going into 94 minutes, which is the 4-minute allocated time at the end of the game, and you've got Man City penned back into their own half, and you've got their fans up and screaming at them to defend every ball, and you see the reaction of those lads on the pitch, and you're seeing them literally like hugging and like embracing like they've won the trophy. That just tells you how much Newcastle United were in the game. They were in the game for long periods of that second half. And if we had better decision making, we could have got more from it. We could have absolutely have got more from that. There was no doubt about it. So for me, I'm proud of the lads. Pope made a couple of big saves. One in particular, actually, I think from Foden, and one when Haaland was trying to run through late on in the game. But really didn't have a massive amount to do in that second half. I thought the fact that we went man to man defensively, so we went man to man with Haaland and Cherky as the front two, and we pushed all of our players forward to keep pressing them and penning them back. In particular, Donnarumma was constantly pressed on the ball to make sure he kicked it long. There was a couple of times he kicked it out for throw-ins. I didn't expect that from Newcastle United in the second half. I thought it'd be backs to the wall, who's defending for our lives and hanging on, and it was absolutely the opposite. And I can't not give credit to Newcastle United for that. I can't not give credit to our boys for hanging in there. We just lacked that little bit of quality. There was one in particular, so I mentioned it in the chat earlier. If I find it, I'll bring it up, where Alanga's been unlocked and we're on the counter attack, and Gordon's made a superb run on the last man, and he just needs the ball through, but he needs it quickly to be able to get away, because if he gets it through, he's in one-on-one with Donnarumma, right? And he hesitates. He doesn't know whether to play it or not, and by that time the move's gone. Gordon's already in offside position, and he kind of holds it, plays it to the right, I think, to Murphy. We keep possession for a little bit, but the move breaks down. It's the final board. I've been saying it all season with Newcastle United. The final board lets us down time and time again. On Wednesday, the final board didn't let us down. We were absolutely clinical at Karabag. But this is Man City. You don't get many chances in front of goal. So when you have the opportunity to put the ball in, you do it. You make that opportunity count. And in those moments, we didn't. We let ourselves down, and was really, really disappointed to lose those opportunities in the game. And I think it wasn't long after that Alanga was dragged for Murphy, and I think he knew in that moment. I think he tried. We won a corner late on, and he tried to stay on the pitch.
He stayed on for 5 minutes more.
Yeah, he was like kind of telling them it was only because the ball was still in play that he stayed on the pitch. I think they wanted to get him off because they knew. There
was another corner. There was another corner. Hall took the next corner, and he was still on the pitch at that time. They could have taken him off then, and then Murphy takes a free kick later in the game. It was a brilliant ball across by Murphy, and Dan Byrne was unlucky to get not to get on the end of it. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's
moments.
Right wing.
It is. It's moments. I mean, look. Yeah. The right wing was a problem. There was a chance later on in the game where Murphy doesn't make the right decision with something as well. I can't remember off the top of my head, and it's just decision making. You need players with a better footballing knowledge in those moments, you know, let's be honest, if Ryan Cherky's in that position, he threads that ball through, Gordon's in on goal. It's as simple as that. If you've got a different player in Murphy's situation, if you've got Bernardo Silva in Murphy's situation where he could be playing it through, the players are on goal, and it's a goal, potentially. You've got a high chance of scoring, and they're the difference makers. They're the difference makers. But, you know, I don't want it to turn into a negative. We know what our flaws are as a team. We've been through it before, but what I wanted to say is that I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic with the games to come. It wasn't a hammering. It wasn't loads of issues throughout that game. I thought we defended really well. We were in the wars. I think, you know, Dan Burn had cut a paw of his knee. Tenardi had gone through some bangs and injuries. Willett the same. Gordon the same. They were giving everything for the cause. And on another day against another team, I think there's absolutely a draw in there. I don't think anyone could argue that had we have scored from one of those chances that we would have deserved a point. I think we absolutely would have. And just to finish it off, for me, I'm actually looking forward to them coming to St. James's Park now.
So am I. That's what I was going to say as well.
I genuinely think that if we can play that way against City at St. James's Park, I think we've got a great chance of turning them over. Yeah. It's not a guarantee, of course. We're still going to go out and do the business, but they'll be worried. They'll be worried about coming to St. James's Park in a week or two. So, you know, there's positives there, lads. There's positive lads and lasses in the chat where we can walk away and go, you know what? Yeah, we lost that game, but, you know, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. And we've got Carabao in midweek. We've got Everton next weekend. Let's go. Let's go.
No, exactly. And to back up your point there, Pete, Jordan Corden has a quote from Pep Guardiola. He goes, going back to Newcastle in a couple of weeks is a nightmare. So he's looking forward to. And like I was thinking the same thing. And Eddie as well, again quoting Jordan's tweet. We were equals in the game. We were well in it. Didn't defend the 2 goals well enough. That's the disappointment, really. And he's right. That was the key to that. But okay, on another day, would have been 2-2. If that Dan Burn goal should have either stood or should have been the penalty. That's not to say they wouldn't have stepped up another level and gone at us and got 3-2, but unlucky, I think, on the night, and we can hold our heads high from that one, especially after what happened with the League Cup. And yeah, like you, I'm looking forward to the FA Cup now, with it being at St. James's Park. We can go at them, and they might be distracted as well by trying to win the league and keep their run going. Even though they've a few games now against teams that's towards the bottom of the table, so they've a decent run on the horizon for them. But any comments or questions, Pete, that we want to go to?
Yeah, there's a few. Tino in the chat. Welcome, Tino. Hope you're well. He put, boys will win the FA Cup, we hope. Well, look, if we can turn over Man City, surely that puts us in the top end as one of the favourites, Daz, to win it.
Yeah, I think before the draw the last time we were 5th favourites. Yeah, you know us. We'll have to beat City, then probably beat Arsenal, and then beat Liverpool or something in the final, or some crazy permutation and difficult run for us to get there. But there's definitely hope on after the performance tonight with us being at home that we can go through that next round. So all is not over on that front for sure.
Mr. Linkfield says Pep gives fake pleasantries all the time. Do you think he's fake? The way he talks about Newcastle United, I'm not quite sure.
I don't think so. No, I haven't heard him say it. It's just a quote from Jordan. But no, like he was in the game today. He was kicking every ball as well, and you know he's obviously delighted to that he's put the pressure back on Arsenal now. And this was a tough game for him. I don't think the next 3 will be as tough for him. But so and they didn't have to go play in a Champions League playoff game midweek. We had to go a rather long way. So yeah, heads held high.
Absolutely. Man City fan, MCFC Pappy, Kusanov, what a player. The fact that they had to bring him on for Diaz because Gordon was causing him all sorts of problems on a yellow card as well. But what could have been Daz Kusanov?
No, and you mentioned it to Martin and LB on the big match preview that we were looking like we had a deal in place for him at let's say 25 million, and they went in with 35 and up the ante anyway, and the price, and that just kind of blew us out of the water. He is a good player, and he's going to be a good player for years to come. And he's pace, and he's strong, and he can put in a tackle as well. Well, I think at the time when we looked at him, we were kind of going, "Oh, does he kind of lunge in a bit too much?" But he's adapting well to the Premier League, so he is some player.
Absolutely is. There's no doubt about it. Luke M246 says another game week, another shafting by the officials. We talked about it just a little bit, that Burn decision, but I think there was a quote from Eddie Howe, from Jordan, and it says Eddie Howe said, "I don't think we're on the right end of the decisions today, but I don't want to go down that road. I'm not one of those managers that wants to continually criticize officials, but I thought again it was one that we probably didn't get the right end of the decisions." Did you feel that way, Daz, during the game? You know, we've talked about the Burn situation and that Burn goal that probably should have been a goal or at least a penalty, but did you feel whilst watching the game that when the decision was being made that you were kind of like, come on, ref?
I was kind of a bit more pissed off with Benzema, the linesman, for a while there as well. I was like, oh, fuck's sake, we're offside again. Or like, why didn't you put up that flag earlier? But I think the ref did okay, apart from that incident with Dan Burn, and that's the biggest one, and that's where the goal should have either stood or we should have got a penalty. But apart from that, I thought the ref did okay. We a lot of the yellow cards were deserved, I think, as well. We kind of did pick them up, but a lot of them at times. I don't know. I didn't think Barnes had a great game at all. He came on and there was a misunderstanding straight away between himself and Hall in the run, but and then he got a card after being on the pitch for 2 minutes. So it just didn't work out for him, and I think he'll pick it up again. But ever since he's the left wing position is his, he hasn't stepped up. You know, when he was fighting with Gordon for it, he was scoring goals left, right, and centre. So hopefully we get the Harvey Barnes back that we had earlier in the season. So
fingers crossed. John Betts says, sick of what Howe is doing to Walter Marder too. He needs to get away from Howe ball. Do you think Howe's doing anything to Walter Marder? What were your general thoughts of Walter Marder's performance in that pocket, in that midfield, where however you want to see it? What was his performance like today, from your opinion?
I'm the opposite of what John said there. I like what Eddie Howe is doing with Nico Marmoush. I like him in the 10 position. I didn't think he was great tonight, but then again, he had a few little turns that he did, a few nice passes, but he's not going to get as much room as he did against Carbag. So it's a different type of game for him. He's going to shine in a game like that. But it's not every week we play. Well, it's nearly is every week we're playing City, but we're not always playing City, so he will get more room because you want to see him playing against lesser opposition and in that spot as well. I don't, as I said before, and I said it even when we bought him on the day of the reaction show, I didn't think he was so much of a striker as more of a number 10, and he's kind of more playing in kind of midfield at the moment, and I think he can do a job there for us. And you mentioned Gordon earlier. I thought Gordon did well. I did a lot of running, trying to with the press, trying to win the ball back for us and making little breaking runs. So I think Nick Waldemar can stay and in that position for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a work in progress. He's only just started playing in that position. He needs time to be able to get used to it. That it's a tough game to be under that sort of scrutiny and spotlight, to be able to, you've only had a few games in that position, and now you're playing up against arguably the best team in the country. It's not going to be easy. There was things that he didn't do that I would have liked a little bit more of, but look, he's still learning that role, and he needs time to develop. But some games are not going to be his game. Some games, I'll be honest with you, Daz, I was kind of going into that game, I was kind of thinking whether it was the right thing, the right game for him, whether it was a better option playing somebody else in that position. Obviously, we're light on midfielders. Do we play Barnes on the left and you put Willock in that midfield, and you've got lots of pace and running power from Ramsey, Tonali, and Willock, and you're able to get around the pitch and do everything you need to do. But Baltimore, it does bring something a little bit different. It does add that little bit of extra quality. And like you said, he had a few good passes where he was winning the ball, turning, playing it out wide, keeping the ball in play. There was a couple of moments, but he did fade quite quickly and was rightly subbed at the point that he was. But that's not to say he's not going to turn up against Everton and turn it on again. So he needs to keep playing that position, keep giving him the opportunity to play in that little pocket and nick the play and find that little bit of creative spark that we need in the team. Because until Bruno Guimaraes comes back, we're going to need him to really contribute to this team. So I can see both sides to it, but I don't think it's a Howe negative. I think he's trying to make something work and bring something new, just like he did to Miggy, just like he did to Joe Linton. He can make players better in different ways. Sorry, Daz.
No, I was just going to say that I just remember one point where Gordon was out in the right way. And I was when I saw the replay back, you're thinking, why couldn't Nick Baltimore have made a run that time and get in the box and then give Gordon an option to cross it in? I think why he's more suited to playing in that position, he doesn't have to do as much running, and he's not the paciest either. So because he's definitely not suited the way we play. Maybe the way someone else plays, fair enough, but the way we play with our number 9, the press and the running all over the place, that he's not fast enough and doesn't have it in the tank to do that for me.
Yeah, and it's not for the want of trying though. It's not like he's not trying.
No, exactly. No, not slating him. It's just not his game, not his strengths.
You're right, and I think Eddie Howe does kind of allude to that in his press conference for the Man City game before. The fact that there's some elements of his game that are just not suited to the way we play. But I think Eddie says the same. It's like it's not for the want of trying. He does run his socks off. He looks absolutely shattered when he comes off the pitch because he gives everything. But it's a case of a wait and see what work in progress. There's a fair few more good topics to discuss. I'm just trying to star them all. But just whilst I'm doing that, we've got nearly 500 in the chat tonight over multiple platforms. YouTube and X. So great to see everyone in the chat. If you haven't already, just click that like button. Just takes a second, but it means a lot to the channel. If you're on X, feel free to come over to YouTube and hit that like as well. We appreciate all the support. Feel free to get your questions in, super chats as well. Feel free to whack them in. Some good topics to discuss and throw your way. Daz, there's another one from Guy Bazira. Says Shahar, meaning Leo Shahar, cannot be worse than Trippier. What did you make of Trippier's game today, Daz? You like Guy Bazera? Do you think he had a poor game? Would you have wanted Leo Shahar to come on the pitch, or did you think he did all right? Where are you at?
I haven't seen Leo Shahar play, so I can't really comment on him. But he should be given a chance. Not in the game against Man City. You don't throw him in there. But Quarterback, there's for me, there's options that we can use in that game, and have your big guns sitting on the bench. And the likes of Trips and a few more need the rest as well. So give them this opportunity on Tuesday for that. Trips, look, he's the leader on the pitch. He's trying to coordinate everything as it's happening. I'm not going to go in on Trips in this one either. He didn't do anything spectacular for me, but he didn't do anything completely negative either. So I'm not having a pop at Trips in this game. There are other games and other times that he messes up, or he's not. He's been at fault for something. So, but not this time for me.
I have to agree with you. There was a couple of moments in the game, one in the first half, one in the second, where he gets done for pace. I think Marmoush does him in the first half and just kind of leaves him for dead. Pace-wise, there was one in the second half where he gets sucked in by the winger, and then they play the ball in and around behind him, and they're in, and I think it's like 3-on-2. We managed to defend it really well, but he gets really caught up high on the halfway line, a little bit like the Ekitike goal at Anfield, where he gets caught on the halfway line. I think it's there, the second goal that they score. Yeah. And I'm a bit like, your position needs to be better there. But I thought his use of the ball was good. He unlocked Elanga quite a few times in that first half, a few times the second half. I thought he was quite smart with the ball. And he made some crucial interceptions as well at points in both halves of the game. I don't think he was that bad, to be honest with you. I thought he was okay. We know he's not the fastest. We know his pace is gone effectively. He might need to manage that better and maybe stay a little bit deeper, so he's not going to be exposed as much. But I thought he did that much better than he did in the second leg of the Carabao Cup. So there were improvements there. The point you made on Lee Shahar, absolutely. I think at some point he should be getting his debut for Newcastle United against Carabao if we're 1 or 2-0 up. Absolutely give him a run out. Yeah. Give Trippier a rest. The other side to that is that Tino Livramento should be back soon. Eddie Howe did say early March, or the early weeks in March, or either first or second week in March. So Tino's not too far away. So hopefully we'll have Tino back and we can ease him back in and they can alternate, which will help Trippier and Tino in getting back up to speed. So there's some positives there.
Yeah, and if Eddie doesn't use some of these young lads in that Champions League game, either as either to start or to come on, say even half time, they're never getting a shot.
Yeah,
because what's the point? Like,
no, you're right. Especially when we're in this crisis. Yeah, and of course, it's a golden chance for Alex Murphy.
You're going to say my Alex Murphy. Yeah, you're right.
I was about to say my Alex Murphy, but not just your Alex Murphy. If you listen to the Geordie Journos, because there's a few Carabao fans that are big fans of Alex Murphy to the point of tears. I haven't seen tears from you, Daz, so I'm questioning whether it's your Alex Murphy. I haven't seen the tears, the cries for Alex yet.
Just on that, I watched the short and I was like, I wasn't there, was I? I was thinking to myself, no, I was in the live watch along with you guys. So there's a bigger fan than me. So and I got a few tweets about that. Was pointing out it wasn't me. That was
it was not. It was it was not Daz, but it could well have been. And if and nobody would question if it was. That is for sure. Interesting one from Mr. Linkfield here. I've already asked you this one. Well, outside of Hall, I would sell every player who played tonight and rebuild in the summer. Love to bottle it against City. Is it really that bad? Was it really? I didn't feel it was that bad, and I wouldn't be selling every other player on that pitch.
No. Look, let's maybe use the question as a shout out. I thought Ramsey did really well. Pope got a few good saves, but there are a certain amount of players I would love to trade, and even some that we even brought in this summer if it was possible, but it's not going to be possible. We will cover it all when we do a squad game at some point, either the end of the season or towards the end of the season, depending on how it plays out. But If it only was that simple, Mr. Linkfield.
Yeah, look, Malik Chow I thought was very good tonight. I thought it was harsh to be on the losing side. I thought Dan Burn was okay when he sorted his head out. Yeah, he did after he got that booking. For about 10 minutes after that booking, he lost his head. He lost his head a lot, and it was really noticeable. And I think that was in the build-up to when the second goal might have been scored, or it might have been the first goal. Can't remember which. But he lost his head in that moment because he was ruffling up Haaland, which as a defender you need to do, otherwise they'll overpower you. He was holding the shirt, fine, gives away a free kick. I don't think the referee was going to book him, but the fact that he kept arguing with the linesman, I think, gave him a reason to end up booking him, and he just needed to just zip it. He just needed to take the L. Yes, I've conceded a free kick near the halfway line. Just get back in and defend. He didn't need to give all that. And I just thought at that moment, he just lost his head because he was arguing. Then he gets booked. Then he realizes, oh, I've got to keep my hands off him now. And he just looked frazzled for about 5 or 10 minutes after that point. But when he got past that point, I think it must have been for the first goal, because I think once we'd equalised, I think he switched into gear. And from the rest of the game, I thought he did well. I thought he absolutely played well. Lewis Hall is Lewis Hall. Was brilliant. I agree with you. I thought Jacob Ramsey had a good game tonight. I thought he was really good with his use of the ball. I thought he made some really good, and this is the bit of his game that I don't really see a lot of, and I'm starting to see a lot of it. His defensive responsibilities, making some big tackles, big interceptions. On the counter-attack, he was on their counter-attack against us. That kind of really kind of aggressive side to his game I really like from Jacob Ramsey that I hadn't really seen before. I've seen his technical quality and his ability and his running power, but that other side of the game has really impressed me. I thought Tonali did well. I thought he got around the pitch well. I thought he was always a foil for someone to get the ball. He was making links. I thought Gordon played well. So there's players in the team that played well today. But look, Mr. Linkfield, we're not going to be making 11 or 12 sales this summer. It's just not happening. And we're not going to be making 11 or 12 signings either. So some of these players, unfortunately, you're going to have to grin and bear it because some of them are not going anywhere. But as I said, squad game, we will be discussing it all. That is for sure. I'm going to come to a few more questions. Colton Connor says, drop Gordon, drop Elanga, drop Trips. I can't wait for the summer. I think to link into our question that we've just answered, and he's been very specific there, Colton, in those three players. Do you want to answer that, or are we going to just refer to squad game? What you thought?
No, but Gordon for me, no. We said it the other day. I am playing Gordon as my striker anymore because we don't have Wisa. I don't, and our game is to have a pacey striker with the press, and Gordon fits the bill there. You would hope then that would allow Barnes to get back to what he was doing best on the left. We haven't seen so much of it recently, but we saw plenty of it during the season. Elanga, Murphy can be equally as bad at times. And what Trips, fair enough. If when Miley's back, I liked Miley in the right back position. So, but I think he's going to share the responsibility. I think Miley should go straight back into the team when he is back in some capacity, wherever that is.
Yeah, I don't know why. I've just got a feeling the Gordon decision may well be taken out of our hands of whether we want to keep him or not. I've just got a feeling that might happen, but we'll leave that to the summer to expand on. Let's put that to the side.
About here now.
Yeah, the here now. I mean, of course, like Gordon, for me, it wouldn't surprise me if Gordon plays as the frontline striker between now and May.
Yeah,
because he's actually playing well. Yes, we lost today, but he was a part of some really good movements, really intelligent movement. This is the thing about Gordon. Gordon's running power, his pace and directness is never been in question, ever. His positioning and timing of his run, never been in question. Very rarely do you get Anthony Gordon offside because his positioning in his awareness is really good. The only thing that I've really questioned of Gordon since he's been at the club is his clinical ability in front of goal. Can he be clinical? Can he be ruthless and just put that ball away when he gets the opportunity? He hasn't been in previous, but just recently, particularly against Karabakh, he was absolutely ruthless. And if we can get him enough chances in games where he gets chances like that, case in point, the Elanga chance in the second half where he should be setting him free. If we can get him in those positions, particularly with teams playing a high line, like he could absolutely destroy teams and he could pick up a lot of goals. But so yeah, there's no question about that. Alanga's getting better. I know we talk about his lapse of quality on the final ball, but we weren't talking about that a few weeks ago, a month or two ago. We were talking about his overall game was shocking. Actually, his overall game has been good. He's made some really intelligent moves, really intelligent runs. He's linking with Gordon. Their understanding is starting to get better. There was a lovely ball he played out wide in the first half. He got released by Trippier and he played the ball across 3 Man City defenders to the back post where Gordon was. I think Gordon works a shot off the back of it where he takes it past Gay and Donnarumma saves it, but it was just a really nicely well played move. And that's an improvement. We're seeing positivity from there. He just needs to be more intelligent with his final ball, his final pass. We know he can cross well. We know he's got good technical ability when he wants to, but he's just not consistent enough. With Trips is going in the summer. Trips isn't staying at Newcastle United. So, he's got how many games? 12, 11 games left in the Premier League at Newcastle United. He'll be off in the summer. We'll be getting a new right back. So at that point, Connor, you could be very, very happy once that happens, certainly with him. Right, we've got Bob says, Daz, Pete, what do you think we need going forward? Would be interesting to hear your analysis. I think we need to ship some of these new players out in the summer and bring in some more firepower. So think about the new players that Cobb wants to shift out. Is there any realistic chance of any of them moving? Think about Nick Voltemada, thinking about Elanga, thinking about Wisa, thinking about potentially Malik Chow. Do you think teams will come in for him in the summer? I'm not saying would you sell him. I'm saying, do you think there'll be interest? Like, what are your thoughts, particularly on what Cobb said with regards to the new players?
The new players, because there's a World Cup in there as well, and there'll be a lot of our players going to a World Cup, so there'll be the shop window for that as well. Yeah. We don't know what plan Ross Wilson and Eddie Howe have, and our CEO David Hopkinson have. But of course, apart from us being world beaters by 2030, so yeah, how are we going to get there? Look, there's. If we got offers for Wisa, if we got an offer, as you were saying before, Pete, maybe from a Saudi or something like that, yeah, he has not hit the ground running first. The injury didn't help, but it's not happened for him so far. I think we need to sit down and come up with a new plan as well, though. How are we going to tackle this going forward? How are we going to not make the same mistakes we did this season and have. We did the summer of a bit more strength and depth, and we talked a bit about this with LB as well. Maybe we need to go out and kind of like use our money for some elite players, rather than quantity. Get quality this time, as like superior quality. If we can land them early and get in ahead of the other Premier League clubs who are going to be looking for them. So, yeah, there's a lot to think about in that thing. And we're linking back again. Squad game is going to be where we'll talk about our current crop of players and who we want to keep and sell.
Absolutely. Question from Mark Ritchie. the Bernardo Silva challenge on Burn is a definite second yellow card. Do you agree with Mark?
Do you remember? I do agree with Mark.
Yeah,
I do, because it was straight after he was after getting the yellow card, and then the ball is played long to Dan Burn, and you can see it. He's not looking at the ball; he's just all eyes on Dan Burn. He just runs straight into Dan Burn, because it was, if he hadn't got the yellow card, he was getting the yellow card for that. But that's what might have saved him from and kept him on the pitch. But yeah, he has that in him, Bernardo Silva. He's a great little player and highly technical, but he has that little bite about him as well.
He's absolutely got a nasty streak. He's got a nasty streak to his game, but isn't that what we want from players? I feel like I'll use Nick Baltimore as an example. I think that's what he's lacking in his game. He's lacking a nasty streak to him. Like, I think I do. I feel like Big Nick's too nice. I do. I think Anthony Elanga is the same. I think he's too nice. There was a moment with Anthony Elanga in the second half. There was a really nice passage of play, and they play in Elanga, and Elanga's running at his fullback into the box, and I think he knocks it past him, and he tries to get in and around him, a bit like what Gordon did with Diaz. He tried to use his pace to get around him, and I can't remember who it was. I think who was it? Whatever the centre back was, just kind of eases him off the ball. He should be trying to get in and behind him and try and win a penalty. Just try and go down, try and make contact, and try and manipulate something, because that's what some of the best players do. And I just think he just needs that little bit of a nasty streak in his game. Big Nick does. I mean, he's 6'7". He's a big unit. He needs to put himself about. I like that Bernardo Silva's done that, but I do agree with Mark. He absolutely should have got a second yellow. You see players get that all the time. They get a yellow, then another yellow straight after because they do something silly and it's still in the ref's mind. The way he goes into Burn, it's a blatant foul.
Your comment there, Pete, is exactly the question that Babu asked Loaded on X, I think, or either yesterday. He mentions should Nick Waldman become Nasty Nick rather than Nice Nick. Yeah, it's interesting that you've gone that road.
I will never forget the Arsenal game at St James's Park this season, where just after he scores, I think there's
Gabriel.
There's a ball being played up. I think the ball gets played back to the defender, and Nick's trying to press the defender, and Gabriel pushes him in the face. If that's Anthony Gordon, that's anyone else, they're going to ground and they're holding their face.
Yeah. He was too honest.
Yeah. And he even said in his interview, he's like, "That's not the type of player I am." But this is football. This is football, and this is Premier League football. You've got to be different, because if you're going to be too nice, players will take advantage of that, and they'll be nasty to you, and they'll manipulate you even more. You've got to be able to give it back. And I do like that bite in his game. For someone that you wouldn't expect from Bernardo Silva, he has got that, but he should have been given at least another yellow card for that, because I thought it was a yellow card offence. But let's keep going on. There was another comment, I won't put up on the screen, but it's Carlton Collins says we need a new squad from top to bottom, but we've covered the squad situation. And just to add on to that, Mark Ritchie says again, we need to start cheating and rolling around like Rodri. Burn should make the Silver Challenge look worse, like they would. Sick of being too soft. Bring back the shithousery. Fair. I think absolutely fair. Claire puts here, Claire Simpson, great to see Claire in the chat. General question. What's so complicated about Howe's tactics that new players have to wait months to get a start? Semenyo and Gay are playing for Man City days after signing. It's a fair question. What are your thoughts on that one, Daz, from Claire?
Well, we've seen players come to Newcastle and they're fit, but they're not Eddie Howe fit, and then it's learning the playbook. Like Gordon being an example. Remember he came for in the January window, and then he was kind of coming on and off. and he came off at one stage, and it was like he spat the dummy out, and he was kind of going, not even acknowledging Eddie Howe when leaving the pitch. And he used a different player the next season. He was on fire. He had his best season ever first then. But I don't know. Really. But look at the two players mentioned, Semenyo and Gay. Gay was captain of Crystal Palace, won the FA Cup with them. Semenyo was nearly top goal scorer when he was coming to Man City. They're like top of their game. We're buying players that either are new to the league and it takes them a while to adjust. Even Bruno, when he came, he didn't play him straight away. He gave him a few games. He got him on a sub, and then got into the team. Then he's never out of the team unless he's injured. But not always the case. Malik Chow seemed to go in straight away when he came. So not always.
He didn't start the season though, did he? As centre back, it was when Shaw
yes.
injured.
That was it. Yeah,
he came on. I think it was against. I think he came off the bench against Barca, but he definitely came off the bench against Liverpool, I think, and played quite well in that game. Because Shaw had his concussion, didn't he? And then he came in, so he did have a little bit of time with the team before he did come in. But yeah, I think it's a fair point to an observation, because Semenyo started straight away against Newcastle, didn't he, in the Carabao Cup?
Yes, and he should have been allowed play.
Yeah, and Gay
scored.
He started against Wolves straight after he made the signing. I think he did. He was straight into the team, and he's played pretty much every game since. I think it's a fair observation from Claire.
They were shorter defenders at that time as well, weren't they? Someone was out injured. Doesn't matter.
No, I think it's a little bit more difficult for midfielders and the wide men, just because I think they have a lot. I think with Eddie Howe, I think he expects a lot from his midfielders and his wide men. So I think there's a lot to take in with regards to how he's expected to play. And you've got to remember, I think from our perspective, and this is not me justifying Eddie Howe in any way, but we do play a lot of our games where we're not in possession. It's different for Man City, because Man City do have a lion's share of possession against most teams. Against probably the better teams, the Arsenals and the Liverpools, I imagine for a new player coming in, it would be difficult. But when you're that team and you're already up there and you dominate possession, I think it's easier to transition players in than it is for a team that doesn't have a lot of possession, is playing quite a bit of counter-attacking football. There's a lot of intricacies to be played in there. That's, like, again, it's not a justification, it's maybe just a reasoning, but yeah, there is a lot expected on Eddie Howe players, like Anthony Gordon said, and many others that are coming to the club when they've been signed. So we'll see. Where are we going to finish then? The question here from Chedmeister: where are we going to finish, lads? We didn't look at the league table, actually. Not that it's changed massively.
No, you don't really want to. You don't really want to look at that. But here in front of me, Pete, you don't really want to see it. Look, it was good that Brentford lost today. But
Bournemouth got a point, didn't they?
Chelsea drew as well. Villa, but then Villa are way clear of us. They only got a late point as well. We're still sitting in 10th. Where are we going to finish? I answer the question. I'm thinking 6th. That's what I said at the start of the season, and I'm going to stick with it. 6th.
So we're 4 points off Brentford, who are 7th. 6 points off Liverpool in 6th. I'm going to say 7th. I've just got a feeling that Liverpool, Man United and Chelsea will pull away from us. I've just got a feeling. They're already significantly away anyway. What 9 points between us and Chelsea and Man United. Yeah, I think we can pull back Brentford. Brentford losing to Brighton, they proved it. They'll drop points along the way. It's whether we can topple the likes of Everton and Bournemouth, which I think we can, because I think they're being as inconsistent as we are. But I think we are capable of putting on a run better than they are between now and the end of the season, particularly if we keep playing like this. I think we have a run now of about 5 games at home in all competitions. I could be wrong.
Yep, you're right. Yeah, we have Qarabag, we have Everton, we have Man United, and we have Man City in the FA Cup.
Okay.
Then we go away to Chelsea.
Okay, so 4 games, 4 games, and then depending on who we get in the Champions League, I think that might be included actually. The Champions League, the next phase, because we have the first game at St James's Park, and that might be before the Chelsea game.
Yeah.
That might be the 5th. That's not been added in yet. So there's 4 games currently, potentially 5 with there will be 5 when the draw's made. It could be that we potentially play Chelsea 3 times in a row if we get Chelsea. Yeah. Play them at home in the Champions League, then away at Stamford Bridge in the league, then away at Stamford Bridge in the second leg if we were to pick Chelsea.
But we want Chelsea while the Barca in that draw. Assume when we go through.
Or do we? That's an interesting conversation. I was speaking to Lee about that actually on Thursday, and we were talking about it because obviously it affects him as well with PSG. And yeah, we were talking about this, and he was saying about how Barca's high line, and Barca are not playing well at the moment. They're struggling for form. Their high line, could we exploit that? Now we did when they came to St James's Park. We probably should have had 2 or 3 before they even scored. Is it out the realms of possibility that Barca's a better fit first than Chelsea? I don't know.
Second leg. Not for me. Yeah. I can't see it. I'd rather Chelsea, but let's cross that bridge.
People in the chat, let us know. Let us know what you'd prefer. Would you prefer Chelsea? Would you prefer Barcelona? Chelsea are in poor form at the moment, but we haven't got a great record at Stamford Bridge. Barcelona have got quality players, but are in real poor form. Do you want to be going to the new camp second leg? I don't know. It's a tough one. Mark's just put in and said Chelsea.
We'll be there. We'll be there. Don't worry.
Regardless,
we are there.
Yes. We will be there.
Cool. We're kind of done with the questions as well.
All the ones that were starred, unless you've seen any that were at the bottom of the chat.
No, I did star 1 or 2 that when it came through. That one from Claire. I think we're done, Pete. But we're back for our. I think we agreed to watch along for the Qarabag second leg. Why not? The last one was such a success. It was a great watch along. If we get as many goals again, all the better. So join us for that. Thanks for. I'm so surprised that there's 536 watching us at this point in time. I would have said, go to bed ages ago. But look, we put in a decent performance tonight. Unlucky not to maybe get the 2-2 that I predicted in our big match preview. But ultimately, City are on the march and they're going to take some stopping. So Arsenal better watch out.
What's in it? Let's wait and see what Arsenal got against Tottenham tomorrow. Yeah.
I think that they're going to roll them over myself. But I know the new manager bounced, but I don't think so.
Crazy things have happened. That's crazy.
Yeah, true. Right. See you in the next one. Have a good night. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Take care, people.
Never let them go.
It's arms and sweat. sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud, he opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. Joking how? Everybody's choking now. The clock's run out, time's up, over. Say, lose yourself in the music, the moment you own it, you better never let it go. You only get one shot, do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. You better lose yourself in the music, the music, the music, the music, the music.